Intrepid viewers, I bid you welcome. And here I am in Australia. Today's Friday, Thursday for most of you. I don't know about you guys, but now the election's so close, it's hard almost to focus on a lot of these political issues. It's sort of, the energy's so huge now, it's hard to know what to read on next. So I'm not going to read on any actual races, but speaking of races, the Melbourne Cup went very well, thank you. So much news has happened in the last 24 hours that I think is really, really important. So one of the issues is the feds have issued a search warrant for Parler, and they want the exchange between Enrique Tarrio of the Proud Boys and others on conspiracy charges. Now, he's also facing a civil suit for inciting violence, and he's decided to represent himself. We know how that ends, really. So I'm going to have a little look at Enrique. And in other developments, there's been a judge's stay put on Trump old properties, and there's a whisper that Clarence Thomas is being looked at closely. So I'm going to look at those other issues in a minute. But first, we'll get to Enrique Tarrio's self-appointed, one of the leaders of the Proud Boys. Oh, look, these guys, As Glenn Kirshner says, it's the boots going to court and the suits are going on holiday, so. But do I have any sympathy for Enrique? No, I'm not sure you don't either. So let's just look at him as a person as opposed to all the other cases that are going on around him. Enrique Tarrio, let me bring you down here. Oh, I think my cards are upside down. I don't think it's meant to be a reversal. No, it wasn't. Okay, I might need a clarifier after this. We'll see. Well, here he is. I think, you see, these guys are so macho. They are so egotistical. They think, what they do is patriotism. They think they're the heroes. They've written this script. It's beginning to dawn on Enrique that perhaps not the case. Hierophant. Now, using my own new cards that I designed with Sienna Rose, we changed the Hierophant because the Hierophant card is about government, law and order, and organised religion. And it was always a card that students struggle with. So hopefully with this new card, that's clearer for people. So this is the weight of the government coming down. Now, excuse me, the Five of Wands, in Australian parlance, the argy-bargy card. I think this is, I thought when I first saw it go down, I thought the lawyers, but no, when I thought about it for a second, what flew into my mind, I think this is the Proud Boys. Who's going to turn on who? See how it's a circle? No, it was your fault. You told us to do that. That was your idea. I wasn't going to do that. You said to do that, right? I think this is Proud Boys. Now, his next card, Four of Wands, the wedding card. Has Enrique got a wife? Is she going to testify like some of those other guys? Could it be the wife? If any of you know, please drop me a note in the comments, because suddenly he's got the wedding card. He's worried about this court case, and then suddenly that. So let's have a look if we can throw any light on the clarifiers for the Four of Wands. Four of Wands. Four Four of Wands. I think there is going to be a woman here. Look, I tend not to pull more. I'll pull one or two clarifiers. I tend not to pull more because you may as well just do a whole new spread, really. But in the clarifiers, clarify is the wrong word. Things are less clear with the moon, always. Might be some mental health issues here. I mean, apart from choosing to be a violent extremist, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got mental health issues, just means you're a typical American in many states. No, but I think this could be a hint at mental health, but this is also the Queen of Cups. With the wedding card, this is his wife or mother or girlfriend or mother of his children. This is a woman, I think, who's going to testify, and her testimony will be important. She got 3 cards. So keep an eye for that to be revealed. Now, Clarence Thomas, you know, and the conversation in legal circles, of course, is he failed to recuse himself, despite the fact his wife was an active insurrectionist and still is. On several occasions, he's refused to recuse. Now, what's happened yesterday, excuse me, leaked emails from Trump's lawyer Eastman, John Eastman, who's in big trouble, and others. Now, Eastman, it turns out, used to be a clerk, or a clerk as we say in Australia. He used to be a legal clerk for Clarence Thomas. So there's a pre-existing relationship. These leaked emails show conversations with Eastman and other lawyers saying, basically, we've got our SCOTUS on the inside. We've got Clarence Thomas. Clarence Thomas is our best chance of pulling this off. Clarence Thomas, right? Named in these texts and calls. So let's have a look. So this is a different dimension again. This brings Thomas closely into the loop and behaving badly as a SCOTUS. So will we see Clarence Thomas being made accountable in our lifetimes? These legal things are so slow. What does this mean for Clarence Thomas? Let's just look. Clarence Thomas. Oops. No, 2 fell out, so I'm just going to shuffle. Clarence Thomas. I'm interested in this. I'm doing it. All right, interesting cards. 6 of Wands. Now, this is normally the victory card. And in the One World Tarot, we chose to have Boudica, the famous Celtic queen, represented here. Now, is this Clarence Thomas in female form? I think this is Jenny Thomas, right? So far, she's got away with this. The lovers, this is them working together. So it's not like George Conway and Kellyanne. That's mysterious enough in itself, but they were obviously in different camps and just lived their lives that way. This is them working together. Oh, I wonder if anyone has subpoenaed her stuff. Ginny Thomas, interesting. So far, they're both powerful people in their own right. They've got the strength card. So, you know, so far so good for them as a couple. However, then comes the Hanged Man. And I think here it's right next door to the King of Pentacles, which is often my trump card. there's an element of sacrifice going on here. I think there will be a delay, first of all, before he actually gets criminally indicted or impeachment or something. There'll be a delay, but there'll be a sacrifice in this process, meaning he might sacrifice John Eastman and say, oh, I didn't know he was thinking that. Yes, I got these texts in the middle of the night from this guy. What was his name again? He could do a Trump and try and get out of it. Someone is going to be sacrificed before Clarence Thomas gets into a courtroom. Okay. Now, in other good news, the last 24 hours has been huge. Pence's people have been talking to the January 6th committee and other bodies. Now, Pence, weird man that he is. I mean, he's just a hologram, isn't he? He's just ridiculous. He seems to be harboring these absurd ideas that he can become president in 2024. I doubt you could find 5 people in the entire United States who would vote for him. I mean, what is he thinking? But that's the only explanation, given the noose and the personal threat and all of that he hasn't spoken, is he mustn't want to upset the MAGA base because he thinks he can magically pick them up. Have you heard of a grand delusion? No, so ridiculous. Anyway, I've completely lost track of where I was going. Oh, his people are talking to the feds, and that includes Mark Short and his counsel, Greg Jacob. So they both had extensive interviews with what went on that involved Pence, seeing he won't speak. Yeah. Anyway, he's too boring to read on. And so now, what I'm going to look at, oh, in other good news, it looks like Truth Social is on the brink of liquidation already. It's only been going half an hour. And of course, they haven't paid any of their bills. They haven't paid their tech people. Do we see a pattern? Are we not used to this? So Truth Social is going down the gurgler. Let's have a quick look at Twitter again, because the selfish, ghastly, childish Elon Musk has sacked the entire board, and the board of these companies, decides the ethics of what their standards will be, and he's sacked them all. It'll just be me. What is it with these men and these messiah complexes? What didn't they get breastfed or something as children? They have this bottomless need and greed. Let's have a quick look. Let's see. Is Twitter, what's the question, Lena? He's obviously going to start charging for Twitter, right? That he just does the maths. If 1 billion people are using it and they all paid me $5 a week, oh, sweet. I love the math. Yeah, sure. But will they? So I guess my question is, will people leave Twitter in big numbers or not? I mean, people do love it. Maybe they'll just pay the money. Twitter, future of Twitter itself as a platform. I'm not interested in Elon per se. What will happen with Twitter? Will people leave Twitter? Oh, there's a spy in the camp, Elon. Yoo-hoo. Elon, you should be watching someone. We're going to see leaks. We're going to see leaks from Twitter. Now, hostage card. I'd imagine, I'm not a Twitter user, but many people are. I think they sort of resent feeling this has happened to their favorite platform and they can't do anything about it except leave. Okay. So I don't think people are happy. I don't see anyone going online and going, Yay. Thanks, Elon. Now I'll have to pay. That's great. You're not going to see that. Okay. Loss. I think people are going to actually grieve the loss in a way of the platform, because it's going to radically change, obviously, because he, like so many of them, has lurched to the right. It could also be he makes a loss on this. Now, the Page of Cups. This is a message, and it's an emotional message. And these are sort of, they're not cups, all cups card, because you've got this, but let's face it, you know, if you're a hostage, you're emotionally engaged in that situation. This is emotion. This is emotion. So I think people are not happy with this. The sword is raised. What can they do for an action? Well, they can move elsewhere. And also, just so you know, I think the Washington Post, a viewer was telling me, not the paper itself, but I think people around it are looking for ways to offer an alternative platform. But the problem is, just like Truth Social, it doesn't matter if you're talking left, right, middle, up or down. Sometimes ideas work and sometimes they don't. But I think the Washington Post is somehow involved in a new social platform that you could look into, see if that's about, particularly if you're a devoted Twitter follower. But let's hope people just go, see you later, Elon. You've got enough money, you don't need mine, right? That would be my message. Anyway, now I think this is really juicy. Now, we know there's the 2 court cases in New York, right? You know, there's the Alvin Bragg one, but with Weisselman and all that. The thing about that, I'm not happy. They're only talking about them rorting $1.7 million, and they'll probably get a fine of about that. I mean, to me, that's now become a joke case. It doesn't matter what Weisselberg says, it's a joke case. The juicy one, now, with Letitia, we know she can't put people in jail, unfortunately. But this is chasing down the fraud. Okay, you know how he deflated the cost of things to pay tax, inflated the cost to get a loan all the time. And a judge has come out this week and he used the case of Trump Tower, which is 10,000 and something square feet. And Trump claimed it was 30,000 square feet. And as the judge said, the man lived in this building for 35 years. He's a real estate agent. He would have known exactly the square footage. So given that it's so hard to pin the Yeti down, I thought that was a very clever thing for the judge to say. You're the real estate tycoon. You got it wrong by 200%? Really? How good are you, love? You know? Better do your maths again, Pet. Okay, so the upshot of all this is he has, what's the phrase called? I think it's called a stay or something. He's backed Letitia James' calls for an outside monitor, an independent person or body, to oversee the key Trump org holdings. And that includes Trump Tower. It includes 40 Wall Street. It includes a massive apartments that are rent controlled, and Mar-a-Lago. And what this means by getting the outside person is they cannot sell, transfer, or dispose of any of these assets while this court case is pending. In other words, they can't hide them. You know, Don Jr. can't give it to the inflatable girlfriend, and Eric can't hide it anywhere, and Ivanka can't pretend her hairdresser owns it, and all of that stuff, right? So I think that's a significant development. It actually brought a smile to my jaundiced lips. I'm pleased. So let's just have a look. I'm going to ask generally the Letitia James case and Trump org. Trump org. It's a $250 million fraud lawsuit. 250, that now you're talking. 250 million. What's going to happen with that? Okay. The money laundering card turned up. That's hilarious. Yes, well, I'm not surprised. Here we go. So, Six of Pentacles, money changing hands, and that's what they did for so long. Entertainment purposes only, YouTube, but I think it's safe to say, because everyone knows, this was taking oligarch money and turning it into American real estate, and that was a winner for Trump org. And I think I hadn't thought about that till this second. I think this is going to reveal some of that stuff. I think this is expanding. Here's the Empress here. And I'm thinking this Six of Wands is Letitia James herself. I think this case is finally really taking off. Let's hope she is victorious, charging in. The next two cards, the Moon. They're going to keep digging. This is what they're going to find. They're going to find more secrets, more and more and more secrets. And the Three of Cups, I think that's us celebrating. I'm nominating myself as an honorary American in this context, forgive me. I think it's people celebrating. I think Trump has always been a brand merchant. Before everyone talked about branding, he branded everything with his stupid name, right? Which used to be Drumpf before the war, and then, you know, one of his fascist forebears changed it to Trump. Anyway, I think this is people celebrating, because imagine the joy, the bliss of seeing them have to foreclose on Trump Tower and Mar-a-Lago. If you want to pierce the Yeti's heart, that'd be how you do it. So good luck, Letitia James. Now, a few more things. I want to thank you all for the blessings for my brother. He's so much better. In the last 3 days, he rang me and he said, "Oh, I'm just feeling so much better. Wow, you know, because I didn't tell him. I told the entire world he'd had cancer treatment, you know. Sorry, bro. But he is 85. I was worried about him. Well, he's making a really good recovery. And thank you to you guys. Thanks a lot. It's great. Now, the election. So I've just been emailing. Now, I'm sure lots of the readers will be doing election night and subsequent things. I'm traveling at that time. But on JENN channel, I've put this up under the community tab, JENN Tarot, on the night of the 8th at 8 p.m. EST. So the usual suspects will be there, including Tarot's apprentice Johnny and Becca, and I'm going to do my best to make it from Sydney, but I will have just got off a plane and hopefully I can get my Wi-Fi to work. Okay, so after that, I'm also doing more traveling, but don't worry, because you're coming with me. We're off to the Pacific Islands, you guys, but more on that next week. In the meantime, stay sane in the face of the madness. Keep your vibration up. Be really kind to yourself. Be really kind to everyone around you. Really try and carve out a calm space and think higher thoughts. Love, love, love from Australia. Bye, guys. You take care. Ciao.